Hi, welcome to another travel video by Gary Rose Travels. Please click like and subscribe for more videos, and also visit Gary Rose Travels for all the best budget backpacker advice. And you can now find Gary Rose Travels on Facebook. So in this series of videos, I'm going to be talking about India Travel Budget 2019. So this travel budget information is really up to date for the new year. So if you're looking to go travelling this year, this is where to get all of the best up-to-date advice. Now, in my previous videos, you have learned about how to make money on the exchange, and also you will learn about why it is that you can travel in India on a budget. And also I will give you some money saving advice. Now this video is all about average costs, expectations versus reality, because I found that there to be quite a lot of misinformation online and unrealistic information online, because as discussed previously, India is experiencing a period of economic growth, which means that the prices are countrywide shoot up, and with a higher standard of living, you obviously experience higher prices. So this is why you need to watch this video if you are travelling in 2019. So first of all, as I've just mentioned, India is experiencing a higher standard of living. So for your budget of 2,150 rupees a day, this is a nice generous amount for a single backpacker. Over the course of a month, this equates to £700. Now this amount, £700, wouldn't even cover our rent in London. So yes, you can travel on a budget in India. £700 a month is not really very much, and it wouldn't even cover our rent here in London. So what can you expect for your 2,150 rupees a day? First of all, think backpacker guest houses and Indian hotels are the way forward if you want to stay on budget. Think small or single rooms with fans and no TV. You can get rooms like this for between 500 and 700 rupees in more popular places. If you want to pay a little bit more, and sometimes you have to pay a little bit more, like in New Delhi and especially in Calcutta now, expect to pay at least 1,000 rupees for a room with a fan and hot water, and also TV. If you want air conditioning, expect to pay about 200 rupees more, and remember this is for a smaller double room or a single room in New Delhi or Calcutta or some other really popular tourist hubs. Especially in the south, it's really expensive. Even for budget backpacker accommodation is really expensive. So how much does food cost in India? Now you can eat cheap in India, and if you're on a budget you will be eating cheap in India, but do watch out for expensive tourist cafes and restaurants. Now sometimes Gary and myself, we love to have something Western. We really like to have egg and chips and vinegar. If you have learned or read about Gary Rose Travels, you'll know that Gary absolutely loves vinegar on chips when we travel, because it's one of those things from home, so he just brings it with us. So when we are in a place where you can get these foods, he always cashes in and has it. However, it does come at cost, and very often breakfast in Pahalganj, you're looking at about 500 rupees just for breakfast, so it's quite a lot. Now if you're in the south of India and you want to sample the seafood, which is absolutely fantastic, and you want to eat in a tourist place, do expect to pay about 500 to 600 rupees for one dish, which is really expensive, and it's a big chunk out of your daily budget. So to stay on budget, what I would recommend you do is you go to one of the many dabas in the south, especially one that's really on the coast, like the ones that are in Goa. We had a really good fish thali in the one in Goa. We had fish fry. It was absolutely lovely. So you don't always have to pay out, and sometimes you might want to eat in a tourist restaurant because you're worried about getting sick. However, what we always recommend is eat where the locals eat in, because it will be really busy and the turnover of food will be fast, much quicker than in a tourist place, because there's a hell of a lot more locals than there are tourists. So if you do want to eat fish and you don't want to spend a lot, go to a local restaurant, local cafe where it's full of locals, and just tuck into whatever delicacies they are eating there. In a dhaba, which is basically their equivalents of builders' cafes, just working man's cafes basically, you can get breakfast for about 60 rupees, between 40 and 60 rupees. You can get like a puri chola, or a puri bhaji, or a little bit more chola bhatura, maybe 100 rupees, or you can get aloo paratha for maybe 40 to 60 rupees. And these are all really affordable foods, and they're also really tasty. And then if you wash it down with a 10 or a 15 rupee chai, that's breakfast for about £1.20. So really you can stay on budget if you eat in the local busy places. Now, in the north of the country, the only places that are noticeably more expensive for food are the rooftop restaurants, especially those found in Delhi and New Delhi. What we've found for these is that they tend to offer a very similar menu to the places that are in Old Delhi next to the mosque, because with it being predominantly Hindu, there's often not a lot of meat restaurants. However, where there's lots more Muslims, there's lots of meat restaurants. Obviously they eat meat, so if you do want to have meat, what I would recommend you do is you head over to Old Delhi, take a cycle rickshaw and get stuck into one of the many tandoori dhabas that are next to the mosque. Again, the turnover is really high because they're so very busy with Indians, and we recommend them. They're absolutely delicious, and they're a fraction of the cost, and it's going to be the same type of food. So again, head where the locals head where it's busy. Because if you're eating tandoori chicken in a tourist place, expect to pay about 500 rupees in New Delhi, which is really expensive for, not an awful lot of chicken, to be honest. So where else can you eat for cheap? So chai and fried snacks, or chai and biscuit stalls, are widespread no matter where you are in India, whether you're in the very far north in Ladakh, or in the northeast, or maybe in the very south, maybe in the Andaman Islands. You will always find chai and either fried snacks or biscuits. So again, you can always have some snacks and some tea for super cheap. You don't have to go to the tourist restaurants. So all in all, you can eat in India for a few hundred rupees a day if you are careful. And then when you do want to spend out on something, when there is a tourist restaurant, when there is a special, maybe a specialty dish that you want to try, you'll have the money left over for it. So that's about expectation versus reality on food. So how much is transport in India? Now, in my previous video, I spoke about how public transport equals cheap transport. So transport in the south of India is much more expensive. This is because there are many toll roads, and even the government buses and the government vehicles still have to pay tolls, so that cost of the toll is reflected in the cost of the bus fare. Also, the condition of the buses is often quite a lot better, and also the bus conductors, they have like electronic machines, and it's also more regulated and a better service. So of course all these things cost more. So transport in the south is quite a lot more than that in the north. Also trains are more expensive in the south, but still not as expensive as buses, which are really quite pricey. So elsewhere across the country, public transport is quite cheap, especially in the north. Very often train tickets can be bought for about 100 to 150 rupees in the north, so it's quite cheap. So I would say train is probably the cheapest mode of transport in India. Now it does vary on what class you buy. Obviously, if you buy a 3AC, you're going to be paying a lot of money, but if you just travel by second class sleeper, you're going to be paying a few hundred rupees for quite a long train journey. So yeah, that's my roundup of accommodation, food and transport in India. Please watch my other videos and please click like and subscribe for more videos, and in my next video on India Travel Budget 2019 I'll be talking all about approximate costs, expectation versus reality on things to buy, and how to bargain in India to make sure you're not paying too much. So please tune in next time. Okay, good night.